Now, we talked about record-breaking scores. We head over to our Seawolves. So about what are you talking about?
Our Seawolves had a game against the Dallas Jackals on the 8th, and they won that 74-7. Player of the game was Riker Hadding. 2 tries and huge win over Dallas, currently leads the MLR, and the team sets Major League Rugby record for most point scores in a match and biggest score margin. You were there.
Nope.
You weren't there.
Nope.
I thought you were there.
Nope, I was just following it along. That was insane. I mean, this is a game against Dallas. Dallas is an inaugural team. They're in their first year, right? They're 0-12 right now. Well, they came into that game 0-12. Now they're 0-13. But as we talked about for weeks with the Seawolves, right? Maybe even months now, every game is really crucial, especially with how tight this Western Conference is. With the win, Seattle got, with how many tries they scored, they got a bonus point. So they got the maximum amount of points possible. And now they sit in that third playoff spot. There's only 3 from the Western Conference, and they now sit in that final spot.
Is that spot a little more secure, though?
Not necessarily. No. I think 3 points separates you in 4th place. So really cool to see that, though, that was 74 points. That's insane. And obviously setting records, 11 tries scored. I believe it was 9 different players scored tries. I could be wrong. I think it was 9. But that was what they needed to do.
Yeah.
This is a bad Dallas club. You needed to win this game, and you got the maximum points. You did what you needed to do.
Moving on to some league news here. The MLR announces 2022 draft time and process. The 3rd annual collegiate draft will be 39 players will be selected over 3 rounds. Will air on Thursday, August 18th at 4 p.m. and on FS2, and the later picks will be on the Rugby Network. This year's draft is open to U.S. and Canadian collegiate athletes. Order of selection will be determined by the inverse order of standings from the 2022 MLR season. And teams will have until the midpoint of the MLR season after the player's collegiate eligibility ends to reach an agreement with the player. Looking back at our Seawolves and their record and standings, they sit at a record of 7-6, 3rd in the Western Conference, as you mentioned, with 36 points. And looking ahead, they have a May 15th matchup at Rugby New York. That's a 12 p.m. game, and that is at JFK Stadium in Hoboken.
I just want to look at this, right? We talked about this for weeks, talked about winning out. So Rugby New York is now, they're tied. They're at 2nd place in the Eastern Conference. 3rd place is 8-4 as well. So they're both 8-4. But they're a playoff team, is my point, right?
Yeah.
So Rugby New York is another playoff team. You have to play on the road now. So coming off this great win, that's great. But you're playing another playoff team, and then you play Houston in the final home game of the season. Right after that, Houston is, I think, in 4th, and I think you're 3 points above Houston. So they're vying for a spot. You have to win that game. And then the final game of the season is against the defending champs from last year, the LA Giltinis. And they're at 2nd in the Western Conference. So let's see, 2nd in the East, 4th in the West, right below you, and then 2nd in the West. It's
gonna be tough.
Yep. I mean, this is the gauntlet you have to run if you want to make the playoffs. But I'm hoping that, with this performance, it leads you into some good momentum going forward.
Yeah.
So